Hey everybody, my name's Io. I am the founder and CEO at Substrate. I've been at Substrate for about 2 years. And what we do is we build agentic AI for enterprise RCM teams. And what that means very, very tactically is for the largest healthcare companies in the world, we help them automate high complexity, mission critical workflows. So things like denial management, payment posting, where some of our clients have teams of hundreds of people doing these things. We help them really, really amplify the impact of those teams. Um, Today, I'm going to talk about our eligibility agent. This is proudly built on top of Stedi. So we're very, very happy Stedi partners. And it's the first eligibility agent that is built specifically for denials teams. You can use it at the front of house. You can use it during registration and patient benefit verification. But our primary focus is the largest bucket of denials is front-end and registration-related denials. And we help healthcare practices and billing teams collapse those so that humans don't have to spend tons of time clicking through things to answer questions. What does this mean practically? If you think of, and I promise I will demo, it's just kind of easier to set it up this way. If you think of the problems that a front desk is trying to solve when they're checking in a patient, there's like 8 or 9 very discrete questions they're trying to answer. Do I have the right patient? Do I have the right plan? Do I have the right details that the plan would recognize? What is required for me to do to make sure that I get reimbursed before providing the services, the specific procedures that I'm going to provide? Do I need a prior auth for this? Do I need a PCP referral? Things like that. And so the substrate, typically when a denial shows up for a practice, it's going to be one of those things that are an issue. And the Substrate platform is designed to resolve that for practices and then go resubmit and rebuild the claim programmatically so a human doesn't have to be in the loop. So this demo is actually going to be pretty quick. I'm just going to run through a bunch of examples so you can visualize. So the first thing to note is I'm showing you a view of the Substrate platform. What you're seeing is live patient data. We're already processing millions of claims a year. And it's in what we call mock mode, where the names and patient details are all cartoon names and patient details. So you'll see like Buzz Lightyear and Simba from Lion King. So using a specific example that's gone through our eligibility agent flow. So in this specific case, this claim came through. This is a very, very big practice that many of you on this call will have heard of. And they passed the patient through and got them registered, but the patient's eligibility wasn't active. So we were able to like go figure that out for the practice. In this case, in addition to the eligibility not being active, the patient was included on the claim as the subscriber instead of the dependent, which is a very, very common reason why a claim will be denied. So that's just kind of one example where instead of just giving the practice like a big dump of everything in the eligibility, we've pulled out the very specific signal of this is the thing that you need to fix, and we're putting it front and center in front of them. Second example I'll use is this is a case where a prior auth was required for this encounter, but it wasn't provided. It wasn't acquired by the practice. So we've brought that front and center. In many, many cases, this means that the claim is not going to get reimbursed. And for some payers, you might be able to go get a prior auth in arrears and have that work for you. Third example I will use is a case where there actually are 2 separate payers that you need to interact with for this claim. So for many categories, carve outs, TPAs, some payers that what we call like payer families, where there's a high level payer in many plans. The payer who you submit the eligibility to and the payer who you submit the claim to are not the same ID. And if you submit it to the wrong one, optimistically that payer might forward the claim for you, but in many cases you have to just go and resubmit it to another payer. So we're pulling that signal out and making it apparent to the practice so that they can see it. Here's an example of this is a very common example of demographic mismatches. One thing that we see all the time is claims getting denied literally because you didn't add the patient's middle initial, or you fat fingered the date of birth for the patient. So you can kind of think like one of our high level perspectives of like why denials happen is a payer has a view of the world and the provider has a view of the world, and those views are like out of sync for some reason, payer obviously is responsible for paying. So like if their view of the world is disagreed with, they might just tell you they're not going to pay. So what we're doing is we're bringing back this payer view of the world and making it really, really obvious in what ways it's out of sync with what the provider has. Last one I will share is actually, I think I shared one that was similar to this. The patient is dependent, not subscriber. So last thing I will say, I'm IO at substrateai.com. A new thing we have yet to announce, but is live, is you can sign up. We've been enterprise for a very, very long time, but we now have self-serve. So if you represent an organization that has a bunch of problems with denials, you can try us today, substrateai.com/register. That is my show. Thank you to the Stedi team for having us here.